standard, which is the ISO IEC 17065. It's an international standard, which is very important that institutions like UNBS follows. So what is certification? Certification refers to the confirmation of certain characteristics of a product, a person, or an organization. This confirmation is often provided by some form of external review, assessment, or an audit. Certification provides an assurance of conformity to the specifications. Once your product is certified, then the consumer who is going to buy your product is certainly having confidence that this product actually meets the requirements of certain specific standards. And when they are going to consume it, they are very sure that it will not affect them health-wise. And what is product certification? Product certification involves the issuance of a certificate or a mark by a third party to demonstrate that a specific product meets a defined set of requirements such as safety, fitness for use, and interchangeability characteristics for that product, usually specified in a standard. So every standard, I mean every product that you produce, it has a specific standard. And that product must fulfill the requirements of that standard because it will set the properties or the ingredients, okay, what is supposed to be entailed in that product. So the product certification mark is normally found on a product or its packaging, and it may also appear on a certificate issued by the product certification body. In this case, it can be UNBS. So that mark carries a reference to the number or name of the relevant product standard against which the product has been certified. That's why if you get a bottle of water, that bottle of water, it will have a Uganda standard US number this and this. That means that product has been certified against that very standard. What is the role of UNBS in product certification? Now, UNBS operates a product certification scheme in accordance to the provisions of the Uganda National Bureau of Standards certification, which was amended regulation of 2022. And under this scheme, manufacturers apply for and are granted permits to use the Uganda Standards certification mark on the products after demonstrating compliance of their products to the requirements of relevant national standards. So this one you apply, you as a manufacturer, not necessarily be a manufacturer, but you can be a business person and you want to export some products outside Uganda, or you want to go and buy products within Uganda and then you put them on the market. That means you apply through UNBS and then you are given that mark that can be put on your product. The UNBS product certification scheme aims at providing third-party guarantee of quality, 2, safety, 3, reliability of products to the consumers. And the presence of UNBS quality mark on a product is an assurance of conformity to relevant standards. The conformity is ensured by regular surveillance of the manufacturer's performance, by surprise inspections and testing of samples drawn from the market and factory. So UNBS has a system, the way how it works. When you apply for product certification, once you go through that process and you get your product certified, then the next thing, the market surveillance department will be following up your product on the market. They go in the supermarkets, they go in the hardware shops, they go in all those shops, and then they buy those samples. Then they take them to the laboratory, they check to confirm if what they certified is actually what is on the market or it is something different. So that's how they do it. And then they also normally do those surveillance audits where they don't inform you that they are coming. But once it is almost a year, they will definitely visit the factory and then try to confirm that you are still following the same processes and same procedures. Sometimes for us, when we want to get certification, we do things very fast. And once you get it, then you leave the rest outside. The quality controls, you drop them and so forth. That's the reason why they come to confirm that actually you are still following the policies and the procedures. Now, what are the benefits for you as business community and manufacturers to get product certification. One is winning consumer confidence in certified products, which results into increased market share and the consumer's ability to identify the products that conform to quality standards, that making quick decisions in favor of quality products. This is very good for you. Once your product is certified, then the consumers will have confidence in your product. Even if you have a shop in Mbale, they can place an order and they look for it. If you have clients and you market online, people will be ordering your products from outside Uganda and then they buy from you because they have the confidence your products have been certified. Then two, the product is presented with a better image in both national and international markets, resulting into mutual recognition schemes where countries recognize each other's products, thus easing entry into regional and foreign markets. Easy acceptance and promotion of new products in the markets and safeguarding the image and the reputation of the manufacturer. As you are aware, if you are going to export to Rwanda, you're exporting to Kenya, you export to Tanzania, you have to make sure that your products have been certified. Once they are certified in Uganda, there is that agreement between the East African community in the region that your products will be accepted because we all implement the same standards, which we call East African standards. Later on, they are adopted as Uganda, East African standards, Kenya, East African standards, but we implement the same standards. Then three, protection against unfair competition from the inferior products on the market through easy identification of the product that conform since they carry the quality mark. Government and international bodies and NGOs rely on certified products for their purchases, and the government is making it a requirement for local purchases to be certified. You know very well that we have Bubu, Buy Uganda, Build Uganda, and that one emphasizes that at least before you purchase products from outside Uganda, you have to consider your local manufacturers, your local suppliers. Once their products are certified, that means they can competitively, okay, also go in the same market. You do the same deliveries, you sell in the same market. Not saying that, okay, the product coming from India, they are the best. The products coming from European market, they are the best. But all these products, once they are certified, then you are on the same platform. That means you can market your product and you can as well get customers buying from you as long as you meet the requirements of the standard. So once your product is certified, there is a way how it improves your competition. You compete with all those international companies and you are able now to manage and also get a market share. But if you don't have certification, even if your product is the best, sometimes we can have products which are certified, but then you also have those ones which are not certified. But the ones which are not certified, you'll find that the quality supersedes this one which is certified because they are meeting the minimum requirements. But yet for you, you have gone an extra mile to make your product to be super. But because you are not certified, then your product will not compete on the market. The other person who is meeting the minimum requirements will automatically take the market from you. Certification scheme provide technical audit of product quality and process control procedures. This means that the manufacturer gets technical advisory services and information at little or no cost that would otherwise be obtained at very high costs. So in most cases, UNBS organizes these trainings where they can give information to the community, business community, to tell you how you can go through these certification processes and so forth. And where you have difficulties, especially when you start on the certification process, you can always consult so that you are given advice, especially where you are having non-conformities. That is the technical advice you can get. I'm very well certain that at least all of us here, we know what a product is. It is a result of a process. And that the rest, you know it very well because you are manufacturers. What are the effects? What are those different effects that can challenge in case your product is not certified? One, conformity assessment activity, because you must demonstrate that the specified requirements related to the product or process or service are met. That is the first thing. Before you place your product on the market, please, you need to confirm that actually the conformity assessment has been taken care of. Then two, the product itself. You have to make sure that the product you are making, it is that product which is desired by the market and your customers. And then we have what we call the sampling. Sampling is very critical. You have to obtain a representative sample of the object or the product of conformity assessment in accordance with a procedure. If you are manufacturing juice, you have to make sure that you get a representative sample of the juice you are making so that when you run the tests, the results you get actually represent the entire production. If it is still company, still, you need to make sure that when you are going to do the sampling and testing to monitor and control the production, then you follow that standard for attributes. There is an ISO standard for attributes, which will tell you in this number of tons, you must test this number of samples. Once you test those number of samples and all of those samples are meeting the requirement, then the production is very good. You can go ahead with your production. Sampling in the market, it is the sampling activity carried out directly at the point of sale. And this is what UNBS does, okay? They go outside on the market and they sample. But even you can even do it. You go and sample your own products in case you didn't control the production very well. You can as well go and pick a sample. You come and test it in the laboratory, and then you see how you are faring. So once it fails, then you have issues that you need to address. The next one is homogeneity of that batch. And homogeneous batch is a set of product units manufactured by the same manufacturer whose use and physical characteristics are similar. A homogeneous batch can be made up of one or more references. So in production, we have to make sure that homogeneity is something that we have to comply to. Otherwise, it is very easy for you to go ahead and do the production or the manufacturing. And when you do the sampling, you find in the same batch, the properties are completely different. Others are passing, others are failing. Others are at below minimum requirements. Others are having very good quality controls. You know, that kind of thing. That's why homogeneity is very critical. So you have to make sure that during production, homogeneity is taken care of. There's what we call testing, that is determination of one or more characteristics of a conformity assessment. And this one, this is what helps you to achieve your certification. Let me talk about it from here so that I don't talk about it ahead there. When you're going to get product certification, the first thing you have to do is to make sure that you sit down and know which product you want to make. Once you understand the product you are going to make, then you identify what is the product standard or what is the specific product standard of that very product that you are going to produce or to manufacture. You must get that standard because that standard, it has got the requirements in it. It will give you the properties that are expected for you to fulfill in order your product to be meeting the minimum requirements and also meet the requirements of the market. So once you have gotten that standard, then you have to make a sample. Once you make that sample, take the sample to the laboratory. Let the laboratory analyze that sample and give you the results, the report, test report. When you get the test report, look at the different parameters they have tested. Are all those parameters meeting the requirements of the standard? If there are some parameters which are not meeting the requirements of the standard, that means there is a question mark. You need to go back to the production. Where did you go wrong? What did you miss out? What could be the problem? So you do a root cause. You do a root cause analysis to find out why some of those parameters did not meet the requirements in the standard. So when you do the corrective action, after identifying the causes, you do a correction and corrective action, then you submit another sample for confirmation that now everything is okay. Once that one has been done, then the certification process will definitely be perfect for you. There you are supposed to look at now the good manufacturing practices, because all those have been specified in the specific standards that you are going to get. If it is to do with the food, they will definitely tell you the good manufacturing practices, how the production is supposed to be, how the environment controls are supposed to be, and so forth. So there is what we call an inspection. Inspection, that is examination of the design of a product and determination of its conformity requirements or based on professional judgment. And this one is also done within your production line, but also UNBS does it when they come to do inspection in your factory. But you as a manufacturer, producer, you are supposed to have inspection controls within, because you need to inspect the products you are making, the products you are producing, and you check them against the specific requirements from the standard, so that UNBS should not come to check your product and they tell you your mistakes, yet you are able to identify them and you address them at the right time. You don't wait for an outsider to come and tell you your production place, you are making juice, but the place is very dirty, the hygiene is not good, yet this is something which you could have addressed before they come. Then you have not done a very good packaging and the labeling is not okay. All this information is in the other specific standard. So if you read the standard very well, that means you could have done your packaging very well. So by the time they come and start telling you your mistakes, you have already addressed them. So you don't wait for outsider to come and tell you that this one you must do it, this one you must do it like this one you must do this and this. No, you go through the standard carefully. If you don't understand it, if there are technical things in there, terminologies, please consult a technical person for advice. Audit, that is what they do at last when you apply for certification. It is a systematic, independent, and documented process for obtaining record statements of facts or other relevant information and objectively evaluating them to determine the extent to which specified requirements are met. Selection, that one involved planning and preparation activities in order to gather or produce all the information and inputs needed for the next stage of determination. And this one, you also do it within the factory, because when you are going to do production, you have to select the right materials that you are supposed to use, the right ingredients and so forth, and also the right personnel, the people who are going to help you in production. So the rest of this information is the same. It should not confuse you. Maybe what I can tell you is about accredited laboratory. You will realize that if you are going to export your products, especially in the European countries, in USA, once you send them a test report, that test report can only be confirmed if the results contained or the parameters tested in that test report have been tested by an accredited laboratory. That one is a must and it is a requirement. It must have been tested by an accredited laboratory. And when we talk about accredited laboratory, that is a laboratory that has successfully completed an accreditation process in accordance with ISO IEC 17025 of 2017 with an ILAC member body, which is now in Uganda. There is a new body now, an accreditation body. It is called UGANAS. UGANAS is Uganda National Accreditation Service. That is a new body which has been created by government, and they are going to start operating these laboratories. So if you are going to deal in foodstuffs, you're going to deal in those specific products, and you are making them for export, please don't make a mistake to test your samples in a laboratory which is not accredited. They will reject the test reports and they will ask you to pay a lot of money. You know, testing these samples in those European countries, it is very expensive and very costly. But when you test them from Uganda, the costs are lower. So that's what I can explain to you from there. The rest of these are very clear. What is a certificate? That is the license that you get. Once your product is certified, then you are able to get a certificate. And then you are given that mark that you can use, but you don't make mistakes of using it when you have not been accepted. What are the different types of tests? This also affects your production process. This can be also called verification. It is a test that is carried out on one or more prototypes to demonstrate the conformity of the design of the product and materials against requirements of a technical standard. These tests can be destructive or non-destructive, depending on the kind of samples you have. We normally do non-destructive testing even in concrete, because there are different instruments that can be used for determining if it is to do with strength and you are selling concrete products. Then when you have those of rebound hammers, you are able to tell the compressive strength of that concrete other than crushing it in the machine. Okay, so there are different methods that can be used. But this now helps you as you are designing your production process so that you are very sure. So the destructive is the common one, where you take a sample and all of it is tested, all part of it is destroyed. But when you are testing, you destroy the entire sample. Whether they are reinforcement bars, you break it into pieces. If it is juice, they will test all of it. Or they will test and then you leave some sample. That's what we mean by destructive. Okay, so this information I've already talked about it. And when you are going to do your product certification, these are the processes that you go through. Service planning stage, determination, that is the stage of execution of the activities necessary to make subsequent decisions, and that one is done, both of them are done by UNBS. Review, they try to review your application, and then they go into certification. This is very critical for you. So what do you need to do, you as a business person? One, you have to do an initial application. You apply for product certification. In applying for product certification, you have already sat down, you have designed your product you are manufacturing, you already know the standards you are going to produce your product against, and then you submit your application. Okay? That's why on number 2, I'm saying the product standard is very critical. Before you apply for product certification, confirm that you have a product standard licensed to you. In the event you do not have, then create an account. This account is created online. Go to UNBS website, and then you click where there is buy standard. Once you click on that one, you register and create your account. Now, when you create your account, then you select in all the list of standards will be displayed there. So many, over 2,000. And then you are able to select which standard, okay, certifies your product. So once you get that one, then it will show you the cost, how much it costs for you to buy that standard. The price will automatically be indicated. That means you can generate a URA assessment form, then you make your payment. After making your payment, and then you go ahead and submit your PRN within the same system, and then they will be able to send you the standard on your email. You don't need to move to go to UNBS. Then after that, get your sample, which you have produced, submit it for testing so that you confirm if the quality is okay. You can either take it to UNBS laboratories, or you can take it to UNBS recognized laboratories, depending on which one is near you. That is what you need to do. So for evaluation, the process and certification request forms, they have to be used, okay? And all this information is online. You go to UNBS website, you go to certification, and then you register under SIMS. Register your company details, and you create an account. Once that account is created, then it will prompt you with a lot of requirements that you need to fill in. So you can make your formal request for conformity assessment or for certification. I will show you how it looks like in case the time allows. But that is the process that we have to go through. Then after the application has been received at UNBS, they will go through it. They see the product you are applying for certification. They look at the compliance of the standard, availability, if it is there, if it is not there, and then they will go through your production flow process, because you are supposed to attach your production flow chart. indicating from when you buy the raw materials, when you start your production, up to the end of packaging and labeling. All that information will be analyzed there. Now, if you had done a test, because the system will ask you to attach certificates of test. If you had done a test and you attach your certificates of analysis, that one eases your work. So when they are reviewing, they will also as well look at your certificates of analysis and confirm that actually your product is meeting requirements. So the decisions are made faster. When they come for audit and they pick samples, they may not wait for results which might take some months. They may easily take a decision based on the available results you have, as long as they are coming from a recognized laboratory or UNBS laboratories. So that one can help you to move faster. So once that has been received, then they will go ahead and start preparing for the audit. They will communicate to you, they send you an email, and they ask you for some more information in case it is needed. And then later on, they will send you the team of the auditors who are going to do your product certification. They will indicate the lead auditor and the other technical auditors who will be coming to the factory or your production place to do the auditing. And they confirm that yes, the product actually is being manufactured following the right procedures and it meets the requirements. So at the time of receiving the results, analysis report, the lead auditor is supposed to ensure that it is included in the related file and execute a general review of all the records of the process in order to proceed to execute the certification and attestation decision. Because once the audit is done, the team which came to your factory to do the auditing, they are supposed to prepare a file. That file is supposed to be submitted to a reviewer. And once the reviewer is done, then it is presented in the evaluation committee. Technical evaluation committee looks at the file, looks at compliance, and then they pronounce themselves that yes, this company's product is meeting actually the requirements in the standard. I think it is able to go ahead and we give it a certification. They are able to use our mark. So those are the processes that you have to go through. But you have to be patient. Sometimes you may submit information which is insufficient and they have to communicate to you and tell you, please, we need more information here. This one is lacking. Don't become annoyed. It is part of the certification process. That's how it goes. You need to be, flexible enough and you follow. As long as the process will not take long, but at least you should be able to follow. And everything you see here is done online, including even the certification mark. Once it is done and completed, they will just send you an email. They don't use this physical documentation now. It is paperless. That is the system which is being used. So once you are certified, the organization has the right to make use of the UNBS mark on its product with reference to their standard and certificates in accordance with the conditions set forth. Now, you be careful. Sometimes some of us, because of the demand from the market, we want to capture the market very fast. Then we are impatient. You go and put the mark on the product before it has gone through the UNBS process. That is very, very dangerous. That one can make you go to prison for no good reason. So the best way is to be patient. Ask, how do I go through this process and acquire the product certification? It will take a short time and you have the mark, and then you are able to go on the market with your product having that mark. Because most of the supermarkets now, if you are to supply them, they will tell you, we want to see UNBS mark. Now, there are those products which are supposed to use the other e-stamps. All that, you have to go through that process. Because if they get you, then you will lose a lot of money. They take you to court, they give you penalties. So the money which is supposed to be used in actually expanding your factory, expanding your business, making sure that you get all the things that you need so that you go outside in the market and you compete favorably, all that money will be lost just because for you you wanted to go on the market and you wanted to put that mark to show that your product is meeting UNBS requirement. So until they give you that certification and they give you the allowance to use the or the permission to use the quality mark on your product, please don't go ahead and use it. You will spend a lot of money, which is not good, and yet the economy is not doing well. So follow policies, follow procedures. You will achieve what you want. There is suspension or withdrawal of certificates. The decision to suspend or withdraw certificate is made exclusively during the stage of certification and attestation decision and taking into account the guidelines of the procedure for maintenance and so forth. So in most cases, there are people who apply for certification. They come and do audit in your premise, in your production area. Why you take long is because of the other quality control, which you did not fulfill. Once you don't fulfill that quality control process there, then your production certification is likely to take longer. Reason being, they will test the product. Every time it is submitted, it is failing. Every time it is submitted, it is failing. That means the certification cannot go forward. Okay, that's why I advise you that the best way of achieving this very fast, you first check your house internally. Do your internal checks, confirm that the product you are making has got a specific standard, and when it is tested, it is meeting the requirements of that standard. Then the game for certification is going to be very easy for you. Okay? But if they find that the non-conformities are many, these are non-conformities that are going to disturb you. And that is when they will refuse to give you a certification mark. So in general, the following are grounds for withdrawal. One, unattended suspension. If they suspended you and you did not follow up, definitely they will withdraw. Misuse of the product certification are not contained in the guidelines for use of the UNBS product certification mark, they will withdraw it. Certificate has expired. When you get product certification, you have to keep monitoring the expired. Usually, if it is for 3 years, then you should monitor. So you apply for renewal of your certification before it expires. By the time the certification process expires, you are already in the process and your mark is renewed so that you continue to use it. But don't wait. Sometimes people just continue on the market and they don't take time to check their certification if it is still valid or it has expired. And the second one is when the market surveillance team can come to the market. If they go to the supermarket, they are going to hardware, they have gone to different shops, they pick samples which you have manufactured and they find all of them are not meeting the requirements of the standard. So much as you are given certification, if they find that those products are not meeting the requirements of the standard, they will recommend withdrawal of the quality mark. They will recommend withdrawal of the certification mark. So you have to be very careful. So this one I've already talked about it. Certificate renewals, please, you have to make sure that you apply in advance. Don't wait for the certificate to expire and then you run out of business when you have no valid certification. You reach at the border, you go to send your thing to Rwanda, they will reject them, they will confiscate them, you lose a lot of money, you have to come back again to UNBS for renewal, which is not going to be done in 1 day or 2 days, and at the end of the day, you become stressed. So the best way is to do things at the right time. Do the things at the right time, and you avoid all those issues. So what are your duties? One, if you were a manufacturer, are you a business person who is having your product certified, please always comply with the provisions for certification, which are set forward by UNBS or any other. It can be commercial or market requirements. make sure you comply. 2, implement good manufacturing practices. Make sure that you have quality control in your production. Communicate to the certification body of any changes you intend to make in relation to 1, your legal property, business, or organizational status, your certified products, processes, or services, your facilities and other resources where relevant, the benchmarks and normative documents specified in the scope of the certification, aspects that may affect your ability to meet the requirements of the certification, any other fundamental changes that occurred in the initial conditions and under which certification is granted. So please, this is what you have to make sure that you implement on your site. Make all necessary arrangements for the conduct of evaluation. Okay? So make sure that testing is done, inspection is done, evaluation is done, monitoring, re-evaluation of your products, production processes, and your products. If you do subcontracting, okay, make sure that you review and you monitor your subcontractors. You have to investigate and resolve complaints and observe that participation, okay? It is very important. The other one, you have to make statements about certification consistent with the scope of certification. Make sure that you are within that scope. In case you have expanded your scope, then you go. Don't use a certification mark which was given to you by this brand, and then you come up with a new brand, and then you say that actually the same mark can be used on the other brand. They will come and arrest your product. You lose a lot of money. So in case of any changes, please make sure you communicate so that you don't fall trap of these mistakes, which will cost you a lot of money. If someone has subcontracted you to manufacture for them and it's a brand which is not part of the brand that was certified by UNBS, please make sure that that brand is registered. Otherwise, when they come and they do market surveillance, or they come for surveillance audits in the factory and they find those products there and the brand is not indicated on the certification mark that was given to you, still they will penalize you for that. They will confiscate the goods or the products. After they check the quality, if they don't meet the quality, again, that is another penalty. So try to avoid some of those scenarios that can affect your business. In case you are any supplier whose certification of the product, process, or service has been suspended or withdrawn, you have to discontinue its use in all advertising materials that contain reference to it and return the certificate of conformity to UNBS when it is required. That means if they suspend you, please don't go ahead and use it. Once you use it, then that one takes a legal step and they will penalize you, and then your business will be affected. Okay? And when the customer provides copies of the certification document to others, they must be produced in their entirety. Okay? Pay amounts established by UNBS rule the commerce offer within the agreed terms and so forth. So the payments, they are there. When you go online, once you apply your certification process, they will send you an email with details of assessment fees, starting from application fee. Then they will ask you to pay for testing fees. Then they will ask you to pay for audit fees. And then eventually, they will ask you to pay for the HUMAC or the permit. But all these charges, they depend on the region, the distance, and the location, and the capacity of the production, depending on the number of workers you have, because they compute according to man days and man hours, including the number of auditors who are supposed to come. Okay, so that one is very important. So don't hide. And when they say that, how many workers do you have? If you are having only 5, and then for you say, they will say I have very few workers. Now you go ahead and put 20. The moment you put 20, that means you have entered into another category. If your production capacity is small, don't go ahead and say no. If the capacity is maybe 500 kilograms per day, or maybe 1,000 liters per day. Don't go ahead and say my production capacity per day is 20,000, because that one is going to be considered during the evaluation to send you assessment. Okay. In case you have complaints and you have issues, appeals, you can always go on the website of UNBS, which is there, and then you can enter, and it will bring pop-ups, and then you submit your complaint and also your appeals, so that those people, they can listen to you. That is very important. This one we have already discussed about it. This is a summary of what you are supposed to do, both in the production and also when you apply for UNBS certification. The important notes. This is very good. The classification of the service between the established risk levels will determine the number of samples to be evaluated. So when you are going to do sampling, even you yourself, besides UNBS, you have to look at the risk levels as you are sampling. As you are sampling, you must look at the risk levels. In other words, if the validation of a prototype is required, the customer must provide as many units as necessary to ensure the execution of inspection and tests for the number of samples. So this is very important because a product which has got low risk, the sampling also is not so much, it's not very critical. And if it is having medium risk, you have to make sure that you don't make any mistake there. Make sure that you do a proper sampling so that the results which are going to be achieved after testing, they give a proper representation. And if it is a high-risk product, definitely you have to make sure that nothing goes wrong. Make sure that the testing is done in recognized laboratories. Either you take the samples to UNBS laboratories, or you take them to accredited laboratories, or you take them to UNBS recognized laboratories, so that you get reports which are valid. Otherwise, if you just take anywhere, you can easily get problems. The results might be rejected. The product will be tested here, it passes. When it is taken to another laboratory, then it fails. And once it fails, then you become freezed. You are not sure of the next level. You become stuck, which is not good. So even here, I'm talking about the risk levels, the low risk, medium risk, and high risk, because I'm looking at classification of products into their families or homogeneity. And then you look at the low risk according to the manufacturer, and also product related technical criteria. Technical criteria is based on the standard, that is the product standard. Yeah, all that is still the same. I think this one, I've already discussed it while I was talking. And this one, I'm very certain that you as business community, by the time you come up with a product, first of all, you first identify the target market. This is where you start from. You cannot just wake up in the morning and produce a product which does not have a market. That is where you start. So once you identify a market, then you are able to come up with your product. And then you look for the standard, which is going to be used against that very product, so that it meets the requirements. Now, this is work with the design, which you already know that before you go ahead and do the production, this is what you are supposed to do. You have to get some collaborations with some technical people to give you some advice. But if for you are technical enough and you can come up with your design, and then you go ahead and have a very good product which is meeting the requirement, that is very good. That is also very okay. But in case you have some difficulties, please, you can always contact technical people to give you some guidance at the designing level. Because once you dream that this is what you are going to make, it's not good for you to lose that dream. You should continue with that vision until you go through, penetrate the market, and achieve your objectives. There are specific documents which you must have to successfully prepare for certification. The company, as a company, you need to gather all the documents related to products that the certification agency will require. This can include the user manuals, the installation manual of the equipment, the technical drawings, as well as the environmental related records. All that is very important. That's why I was telling you about the process flow charts. All that information is very needed. In some cases, depending on the regulations and guidelines in the country concerned, the certification agents may need to see a list of the product's components to ensure that it meets the safety and the quality standards in force. So please, you make sure that all this information, you have it. These documents may also include proof of compliance, demonstrating that the company is in compliance with the certification standards, such as audit reports or certificates of compliance and calibration. Because we know if you are having a big production process, even if it is small, every instrument you use, every equipment you use, it has to be calibrated. Calibration is very key because you have to keep monitoring the accuracy and the precision of the instrument or the equipment you are using. That's why you must do calibration frequently. And the frequency depends on the usage. How often are you producing and so forth. So this one, I will not talk much about it. Here, when you have finished your product, you have tested, everything is set, it is upon you to select the certification agents. But for this case, it is obvious, you go to Uganda. But in case you want to get also certification from other agencies, you sit down and select those who can come and give you certification. Now for export, product certification for export involves a lot of things. You have to compile necessary documents, conducting product-specific testing, undergoing evaluation and factory audits by a certification body, and finally, receiving the certificate of conformity. These requirements vary by destination country and product type, mandating compliance with both the exporting and importing countries' regulations, and often require international and country-specific marks, such as certificate of conformity mark. And for this case, if you know you are going to export your product in the European market, the first thing to do is to ask them to send you the requirements for someone to export that specific product on that market. What does it require? Once you get those requirements, it will give you all the details, including even the certificates of analysis that you have to present. It will have been specified in that, including the standards. Because you see, we use different standards. As I said, now here we are using our regional standards, that is East African standards, and which are adopted as Uganda standards, even in other countries. But you will find the market you are targeting, the standard for that very product you are going to export, the standard you are using is different from the Uganda standard. This means you need to first get that standard, and then you look at it. What does it require? What are the ingredients within that standard that someone is supposed to meet before you export your product? Otherwise, you will face a challenge. After going through all these processes, you get all your clearances for export, your products reach the other side on the market, they subject them to testing, and they fail. You have already put in money, you have exported, and they will tell you your products you supplied us does not meet our standard requirements. That means they have to be re-exported back. And then secondly, it will affect your market. That means you will not get the business. Yet it is something very easy that you can do. So the best way, you need to study and understand the game very well. Understand the destination country where you are exporting. Once you know the destination country, ask the other client, your clients from that country, to send you the requirements of that country for those very specific products. The requirements will have the list of the product standards. They will have the list of other requirements, the certification process, the testing certificates that will be accepted, that they must be coming from an accredited laboratory. Otherwise, for you, you will go test your product in any laboratory which is not accredited. You submit the test reports, they will reject them. And they will tell you, now for us to go forward with your business, we have to retest the product from here, which is very costly because they will deduct the money from you. That means you have to pay. Then they do a testing from there. and you have to pray that the products meet the requirements. When they fail, then again it is trouble. You have lost money, they have to be re-exported. So in conclusion, the certification process requires a great deal of time, money, and effort. It's long and tedious exercise that requires an excellent knowledge of the procedures and certification requirements for each country where a company wishes to sell its products. But it's absolutely worthwhile, as a product certification opens the doors to the various markets it covers. It allows manufacturers to sell their products internally without their equipment being shut out of markets they wish to conquer. So these are the steps that you need to follow as you are seeking that export certification. One, you have to do document preparation, compile all the required documents, including product certification, technical files, risk assessments, and the commercial documents like invoices and packing lists. Product testing, conduct tests in accredited laboratories to verify that the product meets the applicable technical safety and quality standards of the destination country. 3, evaluation and audits. A certification body will evaluate the product and may perform audits of your manufacturing facility to ensure your production processes consistently produce compliant goods. Certification issuance after successfully passing evaluation, the certification body will issue the necessary certificate of conformity, which is required for customs clearance. Destination country regulations, you must comply with the specific laws, standards, and the labeling requirements of the country where you intend to export. International and country-specific marks, many products require specific marks such as the CE mark for Europe or the CCC mark for China. That one is, those are all compulsory. That one, the CC is the China compulsory certification mark. It is an example. Product specific certifications, certain products like food or medical devices require additional certifications such as phytosanitary certificates, certificates of analysis or compliance with specific acts like the Food Safety Modernization Act, etc. Quality management systems, having a quality certificate such as ISO 9001 can help demonstrate consistent product quality. And then for those who are going for food production, juice and so forth, there is another standard which is applicable, which is they call ASAP. Okay, that one is also very important for you. Then there is also environmental standard, there is occupational health and safety. So those standards are very critical in your production because these are products or goods which are going to be consumed by human beings which have got high risk levels. That is an explanation of the CE and so forth. So how can you become success? Work with an expert. Engage with an expert certification body to ensure compliance and navigate and clear requirements. Don't die alone. Don't sit in the room and say, Banange, I've tried, I wanted to do product certification. Every time I try, I don't go through this. No, don't die coldly in your room. Make sure that you get an expert to give you some guidance. Plan ahead. Start the certification process early to account for potential testing and inspection delays and to budget for costs. And this one I have explained to you very well. Don't do things backwards. Don't start testing when audits are being done. It is going to delay your process. You start preparing yourself before you go into that full board, so that by the time you apply for product certification, everything is in order. Now things will move smoothly because you have got it right. You know how to get a good quality product. You have already improved your quality controls. All the systems are in place. So nothing is going to disturb you. Use authorized bodies. Okay? Obtain certificates only from authorized and accredited certification bodies to avoid issues with fraud and fake documents. So that one, it is a product certification process flow, which I wanted you to look at. The first one is inquiry. Make an inquiry. What does it take for someone to go for product certification, then get information, okay, to the clients if you are going to export. Are you going to export? Make sure that you get that information. What about the market where you are going to supply or deliver? You want to deliver in supermarkets? Please get information, the right information. Then after that, you have already identified every information. You have the standard in place. Then you can do application. Once the application is submitted, they do application review, and then they will tell you whether the application is rejected or it is accepted. In case it comes back, when there are some errors that you need to classify. But once everything is clear, then it will not come back. The next thing, it will be information concerning assessment fees, telling you that please go ahead and pay this amount of money. And then once you pay that, then they schedule your audit. So that means you go now into the audit and the sample collection. After that is done, auditors will take samples during audit. And please, when you apply for product certification, if you want things to move and you don't have issues with these auditors, make sure on that day of audit, there is production process going on. Because one of the main requirements of them coming there on site is to witness that the products you are talking about, the products you want to be certified, you are not importing it, or you are not getting it from the market and you put on your label, but it is a product which is being manufactured within your premise, within your factory. So that once it is not there, once you are not in production, then they will disturb you. They can even cancel the audit and say, you will call us back when you are ready, because that is one of the things that they want to witness. So once you apply for product certification, make sure that you are ready, and on the day they give you for audit, make sure you are in production. And then for those who are in the cottage industries, also we need to be a little bit careful in cottage industries. We need to separate production from other environments like residentials, vistas, and so forth. So there must be a demarcation. The production side, it has to be independent. It has to be independent, and it has to be safeguarded for cottage industries. But it should not be a sitting room. At the same time, it is a production room. You will not achieve the requirements of getting your product to be certified, because there, the integrity of the product is being affected. And once the auditor comes, they will not go ahead with that audit. So the best idea, if you are not having a very big place, you have not constructed a very big factory, and you are having a cottage industry, please, you have to go ahead and make sure you separate the production area from any other normal activities. If it requires partitioning, you can partition, but you don't share the entry doors, that the door which is going in production, the same door which is being used by everyone in the family, and it is the same entrance used by other visitors. No, you have to make sure that that place is not accessed by any unauthorized person, and it has to be declared there. You can only go there if you are part of the production, but if you are not part of the production, then you don't enter there. Thank you very much for listening. Madam Anita.
Thank you so much. Yes, and you've done a really good job. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Mr. Ssanyu here a round of applause. Thank you. That was a very, very informative session. And for me, I was doing some contemplating right here about the processes. And I'm sure David Bazuwane knows. I've been bombarding him with quite a lot of questions, asking him. And he kept asking me similar questions. Where do you do production from? Does it have access to other family members and things like that? So yeah, it's a challenge of those in the cottage industry. And so I want to open up the room, but thank you so much, Ssanyu. This was very, very informative. We're going to go into a Q&A session. so that we help clarify some of the areas where people probably didn't get you right. But as I mentioned earlier, that process is worthwhile, and I am glad that UNBS takes effort in ensuring that these processes, as entrepreneurs in production, we have to go through them. And I think when we prepare ourselves, I like the fact that you said we need to prepare ourselves internally before we bring in the people from outside to assess our business. And so if it's product testing, let's take our products for testing, so that by the time the tests are done and the auditors come in, we've already played our part internally. Probably what you didn't do, what I was trying to, what I wanted to hear is rough estimates of the costs involved in all these processes. But you clearly mentioned that it depends on the distance, where one's, where one does the production from, and things like that. But let's go ahead and answer some of the questions that have come in. Entrepreneurs, please, if you want to say something, you just have to shoot up your hand. But for now, we'll start with those that have come through the chat. And John, I just want to bring your attention to the questions in the chat. Claudia is asking, is it possible? Okay, let's start with James. James says, will you come again on destructive testing? I think you kind of rushed through that slide. So he wanted to understand destructive testing. You
okay,
talk about
Madam
it.
Manager, we can
Yes.
answer one by one.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, non-destructive testing. This is a method of testing of products where you are not going to do destructive. And it is very applicable, especially in the engineering field, construction, when you see buildings being constructed. If it is already constructed and you want to run an integrity structure or structure integrity test, then you don't have to do a destructive testing. And if you want to confirm that actually the building that has been constructed, it meets the requirements in the design, because in the design they will tell you we want a concrete class of 30 kilonewtons or 25, or it can be 35 megapascals. Now, for us to go ahead and confirm this, you use what we call non-destructive testing. You can get a rebound hammer and you go checking the walls and you go checking the columns, the beams. You are able to tell the strength of the concrete that was used. Once these people did not meet the requirement, automatically the report will say so, because this is going to affect the strength of the building. And then secondly, you want to know how many pieces of reinforcement bars were used, because you were not there, but now you want to confirm. So there are those testing instruments which are very, very, very sensitive, that you can place it on the column and it is able to detect the number of reinforcement bars that were used in that column if you are not sure. That is non-destructive testing. And then secondly, you may want to know the cover, the cover depths of the concrete on the reinforcement bars. And this one, you can't just check it physically, but the best way to do it, you get the other machine, you place it there, and it is able to detect to you that actually here, this is what is used. And then secondly, there are other products. There are other products which have got these portable testing machines. Even in the chemistry, in the microbiology, there are those portable spectrometers that you can place it on the product and it is able to tell you the composition. If it is a reinforcement bars and you don't want to go ahead and cut it, and then you go ahead and flatten it, now that these days they have optic emission spectrometers, but they can have this portable machine. You come, you clean the surface, you place the machine there, and it is able to read for you all the chemical properties of that reinforcement bar. That is what we call non-destructive testing. So it can be done on any product. Those which can be detected, but those which cannot be detected, it is not possible. Thank you.
Okay. That has been well explained. Thank you so much, James. I hope you're there and that you've heard how your question has been answered. Okay, let's go to Claudia. She says, is it possible to get this presentation? Claudia, these sessions are uploaded on our YouTube channel of Enterprise Uganda. And so find time and access it. It will be ready, I think, before the day ends. You'll be able to access it. Agri says, is it possible to get certified if I'm doing all my production in a single room, or it requires bigger premises? And how can I organize my premises to get certified? If you can go for that, John.
Yes, Madam Anita, please, I beg your pardon. What did he say?
Is it possible to get certified if I'm doing all my production in a single room? Or it requires bigger premises? And how can I organize my premises to get certified?
Yes, thank you. That's a very good question. The challenge it has is talking about all the product. That means is making different products, not a single product or homogeneous product. So there is what we call cross contaminations, which will come first. They will penalize you for cross contaminations because you cannot produce all the products in one room. But if that room is big enough and you are able to separate them and you make sure that there are different production points within that room, then they can allow you. But if you cannot separate or segregate the product, because first of all, you need to have a store for the raw materials. So that means each product, whenever you go in the market and you buy the raw materials, they have to be stored safely. That means you cannot store, let's say, the raw material for making soap, and then you store the same raw material for making jelly, then you store the same material for making maybe baking products in the same room. This one is food, the other ones are detergents. So there is very dangerous contamination there that is going to take place. So there must be effective separation of these raw materials that you are going to use. So in that room, if you can separate them, that is okay. Then when it comes to production, if you are doing production, that means every product, it should have its point where the production is being done and the quality controls are being followed and the documents for collecting all this information are there. The production documents have to be there. Records have to be kept. And then 3, as you are finishing your production, where do you keep the finished product? Are you mixing them, or every product is being given a specific store within that room? So you've got to think about that before you even think of inviting UNBS to come and start telling you this and this. And this is where you start thinking. You look at the space you have. Is it really accommodative of all the products you are going to make? Can you separate the raw materials? Can you separate the production lines within that very room? Can you separate the finished product? Because you are supposed to have a finished product store. The ones which you have finished, you have labeled them very well, and then you pack them safely before you dispatch them to the market. Okay? And then secondly, look at the products you are making. Are these products falling under the same family, or they are different families? Because if they are different families, then you will have issues there. And if they are same families, then you can manage. You can manage to segregate them within the room. There you will have no issue. Because it is like these people who make adhesive cement. They will make different brands, but this can be made in the same room. You don't have to go and look for, don't have to go and look for another specific area. If you are making juice and you have different brands of juice, you have lemon juice, you have mango juice, you have maybe banana juice. Now these products, they all fall under the same family. That means all the quality controls required, the environmental conditions required are the same. So you don't have any problem. But now you are making a bridge, which is jig, at the same time you are making juice. So you cannot make these two products in the same room. because they are not of the same family. One product will contaminate the other. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. That one has been clearly explained and well understood. Agree. I think you've got your answer right there. It was very, very clear. Baluka says, can I certify a product before registering a company?
Thank you, Baruch, very much. Now, you see, according to the regulations of Uganda, most of these parastatals, they are linked. UNBS is linked with URA, and they are all linked with URSB. So as you are going to register your company in the system, when you go to that UNBS system, you will find they are asking you to input your TIN number. That means you have to be registered with URA. But with that, you can even use your personal TIN number if you are the manufacturer, you are the producer. Because what is important is to comply with the taxes. Okay? If you have not registered the company and you to have its TIN number of URA, UNBS will accept the TIN number that you are going to put there, unless if it is in the name of the director of the company. So that means you are liable for the taxes. But if it is in other name of either another person who is not the director of the company, the system will reject you because it requires you to have a TIN number. Now, secondly, one of the requirements when you are compiling your documents in the UNBS website, the first thing is for you to upload certificate of incorporation. You are supposed to upload certificate of incorporation. That means your company has to be registered. So they cannot certify a company which is in the briefcase. It has to be registered legally. It is one of the requirements. They will definitely ask you to upload your certificate of incorporation. But you should not be worried with URSB. It doesn't charge a lot of money. You only have two options there. You can register as a company or a business entity. When you register as a business entity, you don't pay these annual returns, which they charge for the companies. That means you have registered your business entity forever. And the only thing you need there is for you to have a post number. If you don't have a post office number, they also have this one, the online post office number. That is the small cost you will incur, which goes, I think, for around 50,000 for you to have a post number. That one is required for you to have a URSB certification. But the rest of the documents, submitting your directors, your documents, signing, beneficiaries, and so forth, it doesn't cost a lot of money. You can do it yourself. You don't need to get someone who is going to charge you millions of money. These documents, sometimes they cost around 35. So if you do it and you upload this information on the website of URSB, you will end up spending maybe less than 200,000. Okay? And you are done. So that one should not worry you. But it is important because if you want to get UNBS certification, then your company must be legally existing. So at least I'm very sure that the cost of you having your company registered with URSB is much, much lower. And you need to start from there before you go to apply for UNBS certification. Thank you.
Very, very clear.
Yes, Madam Anita, network has gone.
Robert, are you able to unmute? Robert.
Yes. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, presenter. I'm so much excited that I've gotten an opportunity to learn this. My name is Robert Mugume Tinyefuza, and I'm delighted that at least I have something I can pass on in a second, that I was part of the team that developed the Uganda's export strategy 2025-2030, the high value, low volume. And one of the things we found out was, much as our people want to export products, certification is an issue. And I'm so much glad that Enterprise Uganda is coming to take us through this process. One of the things I wanted to inquire was, facilities are really so far from places apart from Kampala. What plan do we have as UNBS and Enterprise Uganda to help us to see that these facilities get closer to us? And also, it is evident that we are moving into a world of systems where everything must be certified, whereby everything must be seen in the system. What plan do we have for the smallholder production units? If you see nations like China empowering families to see that at least each family can produce something, it goes with certification. Now, when you look at the procedures, when you look at the resources, what plan do we have to help us? Then I wanted also to make a little bit of addition that yes, when we are registering our entities with URSB, sorry, it is so much paramount that you know the type of legality you're going in. Now, take an example. If you're going to do food and you register as a sole proprietorship, and in case anything happens, then all the liability is going to come to you. So much as, yes, these things are cheap, I still urge that let our people still come to you, the Jones, to really understand these things, because the liability when we do messes are really so much. Otherwise, apart from that, thank you so much.
Okay. Madam Anita, can I answer the other part? Then you answer for Enterprise. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Robert. Actually, what UNBS has done as of now, as we talk, all regions in Uganda, they have got regional offices, including laboratories, certification offices, and market surveillance offices. When you go to northern Uganda, UNBS has got a branch in Gulu. When you go to Eastern region, UNBS has got a branch in Mbale. When you go to Western Uganda, they have got a branch in Mbarara to take care of the people who are there. All these regions have got testing laboratories, that is microbiology and chemistry, and then certification officers are there so that they are able to reach you very fast, and also the market survey and so forth. So that's what they have done. But you are very right. This is something which is very important, because if someone really needs to get a service, there is no need for you to walk all the way from Kisoro and then you come to Kampala. It is very, very, very tiresome and so forth. And then for the systems, yes, this is where all government parastatals are going. You will realize that for UNBS, when it comes to testing, they use LIMS, that is Laboratory Information Management System. So once your sample has been received, you as a client, you are able to monitor and see that, okay, the system will tell you, please, your sample has been received today, and these are the sample numbers. It will give you that details. For further follow-up, please, you can always use this number to check the progress. Then the following day, it keeps changing the percentages. If today it was 10, and once it is received in the laboratory, it will change to 20. Then once it is allocated, it will go to 30. And once they start inputting results, you will see the percentage keep changing up to the end. And it will tell you that your results are under review. Your results are under verification. Then eventually the certificate will automatically come on your email. You don't have to walk there and say, please, I've come to check on the progress of my sample. How far? What is the status? No. This is why systems are very important. So you are able to monitor every activity that is going on. For URSB, you are very right. That is something which we need to keep discussing with our business community. This is something that can cause some troubles. Many people have ended up getting heart attack, pressures, and so forth. So please, as we register these businesses, we have to be very careful and understand the process that we go through and what is our vision, what do we want to do. And then when you go there, before you submit in any application, understand the requirements and the implication of each category. Okay? Shares, because they will tell you without shares, with shares. Understand the nitty-gritties of those shares, share capital. These are things that can cause some trouble. And tomorrow, once you have issues, then you have trouble. Back to you, Anita, for enterprise.
Thank you so much, John. And thank you, Robert Mugume. Enterprise Uganda has regional officers across all the different regions. We're in West Nile, we're in Central, we're in Eastern, we're in Western, and we've reached the grassroots. Our head offices are in Butabika, and we offer these services. We do trainings, different programs that are running, those running family businesses and all. And then we also partner with the different entities, UNBS, URSB, all these that bring us business development knowledge and services, and we work closely with them. We're currently working on an export readiness program where we are working with, again, different partners to help us deliver all these services to our community of entrepreneurs. And on that note, I would like to invite David. David, your hand is up. Allow me ask you to, let me bring in David here before we proceed with our questions. We just have a few minutes. David, are you able to unmute?
Thank you, Anita. I wanted to request that I leave early. There's another meeting coming up, but before I leave, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you for moderating, and also thank you, John Ssanyu, for the meeting. But I'm going to say this and then I leave the meeting within 5 minutes. Number one, I wanted to synergize what John has said, that before you go for any certification, you can even benchmark with one of your colleagues. Let's suppose you are producing honey, and you're somebody who has a Q mark, for example. You can look at their facility to see that how do you compare with them even before you go to John for certification. That's number one. Then number two, John also talked about the standards of the end market you want to go to. I prefer that always go for the best. For example, if you are selling honey, again, maybe use the EU standard, so that there you can even conform to any other law like the ESC. Then also the benefit of certification, in case of litigation, it can save you. Somebody can come and say, I ate this from your product, and then you go to your process flows and disprove them. Then also, I want to talk about UGANAS. UGANAS, it's good that UGANAS is here. UGANAS's cost, being a Ugandan entity, will help us to reduce on the costs of certification, because it eventually comes to us. Although UGANAS is about accreditation, but it also ends up because they will be accrediting UNBS labs, which labs UNBS uses to certify our products. Then also John Mary said about the regional labs. They are there. They are in Gulu, Mbale, and Barara. Please use them. Then one last thing I'll tell you is certification is for you as the company. It starts with you as the company, not the customer. Just look at it that it's for your own benefit, not the customer you are serving. If you look at it from that angle, trust me, you'll even not forge anything. So Anita, with that one, I request to hang up and go for another meeting.
Thank you so much for the addition, David. That was really helpful, and we have allowed you to go. Thank you again for your time. Mr. John Ssanyu, our time is gone, and we still have a few more questions here, so let's rush through them. We may not answer all of them, but let's rush through them. Let's see here. Geoffrey Kaizi says, for testing a product in the laboratory, do I just walk in or have to first apply to UNBS? I think that should be a one statement answer. So
you
that
just go to UNBS sample reception and submit.
Okay.
Just walk in at UNBS sample reception, submit your sample, period. But to avoid delays, what you do, you go on UNBS website, click on testing, then check if that product is there in the system, and then it will tell you how much you are supposed to pay for testing. If it is a food product, you will check, it will tell you that you need to test microbiology parameters, chemistry parameters, and then it will give you a total cost. Yes, Madam Anita, the rest?
Okay. I had lost you a bit there. I don't know whether it was my network or yours, but you've made it clear. You can you hear me, John? Ladies and gentlemen, can you hear me? I'm
It
not
was
sure
a
whether it's
network
John's.
issue. Now you, maybe it is my network disturbing you.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So you advise that one can walk in, but they can also first
Yes.
inquire from the website and find out how much it costs.
A website is the best because you go when you have already paid. You even know how much to pay. You can select and say now, instead of pay, because some products like honeys and so forth, the cost can go very extreme. The cost can be high. So you can choose to first test chemistry, then later on you test microbiology, depending on how much you have. So starting from website would be the best idea. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. How can I know whether my products are of the same family or not?
That one is straightforward. Like I said, if you are producing juice, they are just of different tests, but it is juice. Yes, that is same family.
Okay. He says, does that mean, okay, I think this is John with a follow-up question. He says, I want to inquire, does that mean that destructive testing is only for perishable products, those that are food related, since the non-destructive was for, you used examples from construction, I think he's trying to relate.
He's trying to relate. No, destructive testing is for all, but non-destructive testing is applied depending on the situation and what is required. If that product is damaged, then it cannot be used. That's where you use non-destructive testing. But for certification processes, they all have to go through destructive testing. Apart from a few products where some parameters are not applicable, then they can do non-destructive testing. But where it requires cutting, breaking, that is destructive. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, John. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for all the questions that have come through. Thank you so much for being part of today's business recovery series. We've had a truly insightful session with Mr. John Ssanyu. He has taken us through the standard compliance blueprint. He has broken it down in terms of what is needed to go through the certification process before, during, and even after. Again, this is to prepare us to enjoy our businesses internally as we do business in Uganda, but also to prepare ourselves for taking our businesses out, and that's in terms of export. And basically, he has really helped us understand how we can navigate the UNBS certification process with great confidence. Indeed, in his conclusion, he mentioned it takes time, it takes money, and a clear understanding of what UNBS certification process entails. And so a very special thank you to you, Mr. John Ssanyu, for breaking down what is often a complicated journey into very clear and practical steps that any entrepreneur or any business can begin implementing. Indeed, your expertise and commitment to supporting entrepreneurs. And I know you don't only do this kind of work where you just do sessions. I'm sure even out there, you're supporting quite a lot of entrepreneurs, helping them.
I do.
Yes, helping them improving their product quality. And so we appreciate I will personally reach out. I know I have David at Enterprise Uganda, but I don't think that also stops me from reaching out to you and to also see how far can we take this conversation in helping entrepreneurs that come to enterprise seeking information about the UNBS certification process. And so as Enterprise Uganda, ladies and gentlemen, we remain committed to equipping businesses with knowledge and tools that they need to grow, compete, and scale. And one of our major things we've been trying to do this year is to tell entrepreneurs to be export ready. Prepare, organize yourself. I think there is a lot of documentation and paperwork that goes in this. There's need for time, there's need for money. Let's prepare to hit the export markets. If Uganda is going to grow tenfold, and that's the gospel that we are preaching, and the different sectors have been identified that are going to help Uganda, achieve the 10-fold growth program. And so we encourage each one of us. Now, whether you're still at micro, whether you're still at a cottage stage, whether you're still at your small, medium, at whatever stage you are at as an entrepreneur, be purposeful in growing your business. But even as your business grows, certain things you have to do as the parent, as the business owner. And so this is what John has been trying to say in all his presentation. So if you're at a cottage industry, what are some of the things you need to do? And by the way, also, if you realize you don't have enough space to do production, consider incubation. There are so many incubation hubs around. If you want to know some of them and you feel for you want to go to another stage, but you lack incubation space, I've been to the Uganda Industrial Research Institute. They incubate quite a number of businesses. They give you machines, their machines to use, and you don't even pay for them. It's one of those entities that helps through the certification process. At the Uganda Industrial Research Institute, just here, this what is this road called? On Ginger Road, just opposite, that road of Chambogo University. There's a Pepsi depot right there. It's a bit hidden, so people don't know it. So just before you reach the road that goes to, I think, Chambogo University, on your right, as you come from Kampala, this side, Uganda Industrial Research Institute is there. They'll give you incubation space, they'll give you machines and equipment to use, and then you'll develop a product from there. They can even help with testing. They work closely with UNBS. So as an entrepreneur, let's try as much as possible to see if we do whatever it takes for our businesses to grow. But even Mr. John has shared that he's available. Those interested, please reach out. Let him, share his number in the chat. These are experts. One of the things he told us to do is to reach out to experts that can help us through these processes. So, ladies and gentlemen, your certification journey may not be as easy, but with the right guidance from experts like Mr. John, it's absolutely achievable. I believe it. And for me, my goal for next year, can you hear me? Can you hear me, John? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I know at some point my network was warning. And I was saying,
Yes.
entrepreneurs, that your certification may not be easy, but with the right guidance from experts like John, it's absolutely achievable. And so we invite you, stay engaged with our upcoming sessions on the Business Recovery Series. Reach out for support when you need it. We are here. If Enterprise Uganda does not offer a certain service, we know the right person who can help you and continue building strong, competitive, and compliant businesses. Thank you once again for your participation. We wish you all a productive and successful week ahead. Mr. John, if you have some parting shots to our entrepreneurs, please come in and give them, and then we release them.
No, I think we have done everything. Thank you very much, Anita, and thank you very much, business communities, for having attended this. This is very important, and we shall continue to keep engaging each other. Please don't be scared for consulting. Ask, and then you get help. Thank you. See you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. From us at Enterprise Uganda, we wish you all the best. And please, let's keep the conversation going on the different social media handles. Have a good day. God bless you. Bye.